Okay. According to this, we're live. According to YouTube, we are live. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Hi.
What's going
Hi,
on?
hi,
Happy
hi.
Friday.
Happy
Hello,
Friday.
YouTube.
We made it. We made it to Friday. We're here. We made it. For those who are joining us for the first time, we are Seth and Eric, the co-hosts of All In, a Nintendo podcast. Yes, there is a podcast to go along with this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is merely one spoke on the wheel of All In. We do a weekly Nintendo podcast that hits every podcast feed on Saturdays, and here on Friday nights, we record sort of the first segments of our show live here on YouTube. So
yeah, we create a lot of Nintendo content. One might even say we go all in
yes,
on creating Nintendo content.
you might say that.
One might say that.
And so Eric and I every Friday night kind of record the first segment. So we're going to talk about like what we've been up to, what we've been playing, and things like that, and as well as break down the news. But it's only a tiny taste of the show. We're actually in the full episode that goes live tomorrow. You'll hear this in addition to top fives, which we do every single week, and an indie showcase, which we also do every week. And then we kind of have like a revolving fourth segment. Like this week, we're doing a review discussion on Mario plus Rabbids.
A review we have been waiting for a very long time. You're not going to want to miss that. Seth, I've got to find a new background for my phone now.
Oh, that's true. Because the game's out now.
Because the game's out. I had it on my phone for the past year and a half waiting for it to come out. And it's out and I'm done and I need a new wallpaper. End of an era, man.
Good problem to have, though. In all fairness. So yeah, that's kind of what we do, and hopefully y'all dig it. But tonight's all about kind of the news and stuff, and just kind of hanging out and chatting about the week in Nintendo news. So we got some stuff on the docket, and yeah, if you're ready, I think we can just go ahead and get straight into it, man. Greetings to everybody who's new. We appreciate it. And hey, before we get started, if you would, go ahead and like the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate that.
YouTube.com/allinpodcast is a place you and all the cool kids should be.
If you're a cool kid, you're in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's roll this intro and let's get started, my friend. That's right, everybody. We are thrilled to be here with another episode of All In a Nintendo Podcast, the weekly Nintendo variety show where each and every Saturday, no shell's left unturned and no point is left unearned. I'm a little bit sad, Eric, that we have to go back to the normal theme this week. I'm a little sad.
That Halloween theme is so fire. It is so good. Such fire. Oh my lord.
I mean, not to take anything away from the Red Panda's normal All In theme. Of course, we love it, and we love the Red Panda. Shout out to the Red Panda, by the way, who has an album that just came out. I need
that album.
Yeah,
all right.
Tori 2.
Just Tori 2 remix. Tori 2 is actually how we found out about our friend Jordan, and the reason that we specifically reached out to them to compose our new theme. So definitely check out It's the Red Panda on Twitter. Check out the Red Panda's new Tori 2 remixed album.
Yeah, shout outs to the Red Panda. And you know, the normal theme song's great, but he just crushed it with that spooky theme. And I'm not going to lie.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I already miss it. I'm not going to lie. I already miss it. But of course, we've got a lot of stuff to get into tonight. And we kick off our show each and every week here live on Friday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/allinpodcast. We record the first segments of our show live. So shout outs to everybody who is watching us live right now. We love and appreciate you. And you know who else we love and appreciate, Eric?
Our sponsors.
Our sponsor? Well, I guess technically, yeah, they are our sponsors.
Technically, yeah, they are our sponsors.
That is true. This show is brought to you by the patrons at patreon.com/allinpodcast, where at our Golden Banana and Triforce tiers, you get shout-outs each and every week here on the show. So starting off with our Golden Banana tier patrons, I actually want to shout out a brand new, as of today, a brand new patron joining the esteemed members of the Golden Banana tier, our buddy Phelan. Phelan has joined the Patreon at the Golden
A
Banana
true Golden Banana, my former employee, the Pokemon TCG extraordinaire.
tier.
Thank you, Phelan.
Yeah, he's of course the host of the Damage Counter podcast, and big shout outs to Phelan. Just a great guy overall, and we love him and appreciate his support over on Patreon and joining the Golden Banana tier. Check out Damage Counter for sure if you're into the Pokemon TCG, a show that somehow goes longer than ours. I don't know how they do it.
Phelan's been listening to our show so long, he's just like, challenge accepted.
Basically, hold my beer, says Phelan. So appreciate you, Phelan. Shout outs to Phelan for joining the Patreon. But our other Golden Banana tier members, of course, include Dan Caparello of the Retrologic podcast, Rob Yapel, third strongest mole, the third strongest co-host of the Retrologic podcast, Sean O'Baggins Ashton, Tim A, aka Neo Prime 33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Matt Shy Guy City Murray, Shy Guy, both of them the fearless members of the Shy Guy Mod Squad, Drew Agnew, yes, and of course Drew Agnew, the handsome host of the House of Mario podcast. Big shout outs to Drew. Oh, so handsome. And we can't forget, of course, about the Triforce tier, the ultimate supporters. Big shout outs to our Triforce tier supporters. Josh Vaughn, the godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday. John Datfast Cummins, host of, the third host of the Retrologic podcast, as well as host of On Topic Retro. The Globe-Trottin' Jet Settin' Sparky, who just got a really rad Cars CRT TV.
Dude, that looks hot. That Lightning McQueen. Oh man.
I don't even know like what the deal is with that, how he encountered that, but he got it, man. He was putting it through its paces, and he was talking about it in the Discord. So always love to hear from Sparky. And of course, the legend himself,
Uncle Randy.
Yes, Uncle Randy. We love you, Uncle Randy. Huge thanks to Uncle Randy for his support, and thank you all for your support on patreon.com/allinpodcast, making the dreams come true over there. But sir, what's been going on in your world this week?
Bro. Oh man, for both of us, actually, quite a bit of FOMO this week. We're not going to lie. Most weeks, I think my lovely co-host would be anywhere but on stream with me. But this week, I honestly couldn't blame him. I really can't blame him. I know, Seth, you would rather be somewhere else right now. Our friends, the Nintendo Dads, are having some fun up in NYC right now, and I know that's a big source of FOMO for you specifically. Seth, I know you got the Nintendo pals up there, and they're all taking pictures and having fun and celebrating their 400th episode.
Everybody's there. So yeah, so they're all up there for Extra Life 2022. Big shout outs. If you're listening to this,
yeah, exactly. If you're listening to the podcast, it's going on today. Yes.
Right. So definitely tune in, support, donate, all the stuff going on there between my fellow Carpool Gaming folks, the Nintendo pals, Nintendo dads, Save the Game Media, the Trophy Room, all these people raising a ton of money for the kids for Extra Life 2022. So definitely show your support for them. And they're all gathered in New York right now. And yeah, just seeing and I knew this was going to happen. I couldn't make it out. I wanted to, but just like finances and stuff, it wasn't in the cards. Hopefully next year. I'm just like looking at everybody, dude. Everybody's there. You got the Nintendo pals there. The Nintendo dads are all there, gathering for the first time. They did their 400th episode live in person. Sean's there, my good friend and co-host of the Nintendo Drive. He's there. Like Barry from Premium Edition, who's going to be on Keep Nintendo Weird next week. He's there. Just like everybody is there, and I've got this massive. I'm literally getting like emotional. I'm like, all of my friends are in this one place, and I'm not there, and it really does break my heart.
All of them.
Oh my gosh, it breaks my heart, man. So I wish we could go.
I know. But I'm a distant second option for you this week. I know, but
that's not true.
We've still got a great episode for you. But I've got to admit, when it comes to FOMO, I'm also feeling it very, very hard this week. So very hard. This was the week that, as somebody who has been striving to keep up with just his Nintendo Switch backlog, I have
Mm.
been dreading this week for so long because I've got to get a PS5 now, Seth. I absolutely have to.
Oh, because the
I've
reviews hit this
I've
week.
I've
Yeah.
well, I've said it a couple times. God of War 2018 is by far my favorite non-Nintendo game of all time. I almost thought it was my favorite game of all time for a while I was playing it, and I mean the reviews are finally starting to hit for God of War Ragnarok, and everybody is basically just falling over themselves to praise it. It's
Yeah.
got a 94% on Metacritic right now, so I've been wanting to play that. I've been wanting to play King of Fighters, like you well know. I'm gonna have to find a way to get a PS5 and play God of War Ragnarok somehow. I haven't had this bad of video game FOMO in a very long time. There's a lot of pretty games that come out on the blue and green brands, but typically I'm just like, oh, that seems pretty cool. I'm sure people will enjoy it. But very, very rarely do I just go like, oh man, I really wish I could play that. But with this game, that's very much where I'm at mentally right now. There's so many great and amazing games coming out just on the Nintendo Switch. We're going to be talking about one of them later on in the podcast, and we've got so many more coming out throughout the rest of the holiday shopping season. But I have somehow, some way, somewhere, some why, whatever the rest of the 5 Ws are, got to find a way to play through God of War Ragnarok this holiday season.
Yeah, man.
Man, I really want to.
And here's the thing too, is like I have a PS5. I just don't have the time to play it. Like I've got so many games sitting on my PS5 unplayed. I've got Horizon sitting there,
Yep.
Stray, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Ratchet, that I'm like, and I got a million games to play on there, but it's hard enough to just play the Switch games.
Yeah.
So, where's God of War gonna fit in? I don't know. I'm going crazy over here.
Well, for me, I know you beat Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle fairly quickly. Seth actually did a video review. His first ever video review for Carpool Gaming was
Yep.
on Mario plus Rabbids. I think I said Kingdom Battle. I apologize, for Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, rather. And but that's going back through and finishing everything and 100%ing the game. Well, 98% of the game. That's what
Right.
took up a lot
Yeah.
of my free time this week. In addition to that, playing a couple other things, including a couple NSO games that dropped that we'll be talking about a little bit later, but nothing super, super notable. But I do know that you, Seth, we were actually thinking about a potential indie showcase for this week
Oh
that you
yeah.
wound up playing. And I
That's
wanted to
true.
hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about because National Donut Day I think is on
Yes.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So we were talking about doing this game Freshly Frosted, which
Hmm.
happened to be on sale, and so I picked it up and like I was like, let me check this out and see. And it is really cool. Like I like it quite a bit. It's this relaxing sort of Zen puzzle game where the story setup of it starts with like this kind of female voice narrating, and she's sort of looking up into the clouds and trying to relax and unpack her mind, and in the clouds she imagines this like donut factory, and essentially it's about like setting up the conveyor belts in such a way that you can frost, sprinkle, put whipped cream, and then finally put a cherry on top of some donuts. But because of the positioning of it all, and like just the way it's all laid out on the maps, sometimes the conveyor belt has to snake in a very particular way, so it's all about finding the right way to set up your assembly line. And then they start introducing multiple assembly lines, and it gets even more crazy. It does get pretty complicated fairly quickly, and I really like it. It runs perfectly. I love the visual. It's relaxing. It's a cool puzzle game, but there's just like not that much to say about a puzzle game other than like core mechanics. To be honest, everything that I just said to you about this game is kind of all there is to say about it. It's just, how do you do an indie showcase on a puzzle game? It's very, very simple. It would be a 5-minute indie showcase and we'd say goodnight. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason. There are just certain games that we choose not to cover because it just doesn't warrant like a full, blowout segment, but they're still good and recommendable and things like that. So, Freshly Frosted is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but not quite Indie Showcase. So
Fair enough. Well, is it still on sale or?
that I don't know. I think it was. I think it only had like a day left after I got it or something. I
Yeah,
think it might be off sale now, but
it was a
yeah,
couple dollars off. But if you
yeah.
see it again, if you're this, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, the day the podcast comes out for National Donut Day, maybe check out Freshly Frosted and that Homer Simpson gif of him being tied down, donuts like oh oh.
Yeah. It's a cool little game though. It is worth checking out. Like I enjoyed it. It's just not quite, it's just not there's just not enough meat on the bone. You know what I mean?
I do know
Um
what you mean there.
yeah. In terms of other stuff, I mean, you and I have been playing this little game called Bayonetta 3,
You know what?
you
We
know.
have been playing a little game called Bayonetta 3. Uh, Stay tuned for our full review of that. I don't want to say too much about it because you and I are deep in the throes of
Mhm.
said game right now. But yes, it's definitely more of the Umbra Witch.
It's
That
Bayonetta.
much I can confirm already.
It is Bayonetta. I was
Hmm.
feeling a little bit soft on it when I first started, but it has grown on me a lot. Really quickly, kind of like the misgivings I was having with it sort of faded away pretty
Yeah.
fast. Because I was kind of like, and I might have even said this on the show last week. I can't remember, but I was sort of like, the graphics are kind of like not really there for me, and I don't understand why it doesn't look better. And that's still true, but when you just start playing it, it just like it's hard to complain about that kind of stuff too much when the gameplay is so fluid and perfect, and it's just a fun action game. So I'm having a good time with it so far. But yeah, Eric and I are kind of mainlining that so that we can review that, because I mean, dude, this is the beginning of this holiday season. We just wrapped up Mario Rabbids. We got a review of that this week on the show. Then we got Bayonetta, and just a couple of days from now we got Sonic Frontiers, then
Yep.
Pokemon. Not even thinking about, we're going to be rolling straight into the Golden Aces, before long. Like we're in the throes of a crazy holiday season, man.
And of course, the holiday season is when most games come out, which means that we're going to have a lot of very notable anniversaries and celebrations coming up in the next couple
Yeah.
months that we've already been talking about, trying to figure out how in the world we're going to snake those into the show in and among everything else. So, but we do it. We do it for you people. But we do it for you people
Man,
because
we're
we love
just
you.
pulling our hair out over here, man. It's crazy. There's
Well,
just
you've
so
certainly
much.
got enough. I don't think you'll miss much.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And I also want to shout out really quickly, because I have been playing this now that it's finally out and I'm able to. Runbox
Oh,
Run
yeah. Yeah. From a
came
TUI.
out this week. Yeah, from a Tui. And I think I've talked on the show a little bit. I don't know if I was able to say much back then, but I beta tested this game pretty extensively. And it's kind of cool. Runbox Run is a very, very simple game, and it also is worth noting that that game is free. If you
Yes.
own an Atui, like a previously released Atui game, Runbox Run is just a free download.
Yeah.
So
Those
really
games
cool.
being Zeo Drifter, Mutant Mudds Collection, Totes the Goat, and
Soccer
uh,
Slammers.
Soccer
Yeah.
Slammers. Yeah, if you own any of those games on Nintendo Switch, Runbox Run is a free download. That being said, if you don't, it's also just super cheap.
Yeah. And it's a very, very simple game. It's just this little, the way I describe this, it's the perfect game to get the party started. Like anybody can play it. It's just a little like cute little platformer with some light trivia mechanics worked in. The thing is, it's online only, so there isn't any local multiplayer, there isn't any single player component. It's strictly online. So if nobody's playing it, you can't play it. So before, like pre-release, I popped in probably 5 or 6 times and I wasn't able to play it. So it is kind of nice now that the game's out that I can actually play it.
Now
So
that people can actually get and play the game.
yeah. So that was kind of nice. Because what we ended up having to do to beta test is Jules would kind of set up like test sessions, and we would
Yeah.
get, a big group of people and we'd play, and it was fun, and we'd, find and squash bugs and things. But now the game's out, super stable, fun, cute little game. And again, if you're, I think it's a nice little make good, because I know a lot of people are going to be whining that it's not Hatch Tales, of course.
Yeah,
I
of
get it,
course.
whatever.
Yep.
But
And
look,
that
it's
does need to happen. But
yeah, and I mean, look, it's we'll see, but the last we heard is it was coming out this year, so I don't know. We'll see. The clock is ticking, so we'll see what
yeah, it is.
happens. But in any case, Runbox Run is out, and it is again free if you have a TUI games. So, and I imagine most of you do. What else did I have going? Oh, I will shout out an episode of Behind Enemy Lines went up
Yeah.
just in time for Halloween. I got that
Mm-hmm.
finished like right at the razor's edge of Halloween. I wanted to get it out there. It's on the Fanto from Super Mario Brothers 2, and it was
One
yeah,
of the scariest enemies in Mario history. That thing used to terrify me because
me
you would
too.
grab the key, it would come alive, and it would not stop chasing you across screen until you use the key. That thing was after you. It was terrifying as a kid.
Yeah, and that wound up being like it basically turned into like a little mini documentary. So I sort of if you guys are interested in the sort of history, the reason I actually go into the reason why Fanto is a mask at all. And I go into the history of an event called Yume Kojo, which is the thing that started off Doki Doki Panic, which then became Super Mario Brothers 2. So there's quite a lot in that little 8-minute video.
Are
So
you telling me that Super Mario Brothers 2 wasn't originally you're
yeah.
telling me that
Fun fact, I'm sure you didn't know that. Neither did the rest of it. I actually say that in the video. I'm like, I'm not going to go into this. Is well worn ground on the internet.
yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it's I'm proud of that video, and people have liked it, and people have been very, very nice about it. And so definitely check that out here on the YouTube channel. And nice spooky vibes for spooky
Yeah.
season. But
Yeah, and speaking of spooky season, some of you out there may be wondering, Seth, Eric, you guys love spooky season, but Halloween was this past week, and you haven't even talked about what you did for Halloween. Au contraire, dear listener.
that's true.
As a matter of fact, we did a full episode of Side Quest this past week, specifically on our experiences of Halloween both this year and past. So if you want to become patrons, you can check out. That was actually a really fun episode.
That was a good one. Yeah,
That was a good one too. So if you want to become patrons, not only will you get your name shouted out at the beginning of the episode, but you get access to a whole dang other set, not just a whole dang other podcast, a whole dang other set of shows every week. So definitely check that out. Seth and I talked quite a bit about Halloween proper in the side quest this week, which is why we're not talking about it really too much in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. But I hope everybody had a happy and safe Halloween, and we certainly did our due diligence and did a lot of stuff for Halloween, and a lot of other stuff going on this week. But Eric, we do have a considerable amount of news to cover. So what do you say we get into it?
Yes, I'm so excited about so much of this. Let's talk about it.
Hey, listen!
Ooh, so where do we start? We've got a couple big things that happened in the world of the Big End this past week, but I guess we should probably start with Day of the Devs. We are celebrating Day of the Dead later on here in the episode, but it was the 10th anniversary of Tim Schafer and I Am 8-Bit's yearly celebration of indie games and their developers. This past Thursday, they had a hour-long presentation featuring a lot of upcoming, really interesting indie games, and it was a cool show. It was good, but there's a couple fairly big misgivings we have with the show. Before we get into the individual games that we're excited about, I think you and I both were a little frustrated by two big things. One, a lot of it is games that we've seen quite a bit already. Right. Thirsty Suitors looks okay, but I've seen that like half a dozen times now. And several others that we feel have been shown off a little ad nauseum.
Yeah, they're really, there are only maybe 2 or 3 games that we didn't know about previously that were shown here at all, much less ones that had confirmed Nintendo Switch ports. And we love Day of the Devs. We're very supportive of Day of the Devs. We love the last one that happened in the summer so much. We did a whole top 5 about it. It was an embarrassment of riches, just an embarrassment of information. And this one was kind of the antithesis of that for me. Like, that was kind of my big takeaway. It was like there's so little information here. Like, yes, we're seeing cool games, a lot of them that we've already known about for a long time,
Yeah.
with no new release
Gunbrella, Sea of
dates.
Stars, and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
you
that's the
know.
other big thing is these were games that that were known quantities already, that we've already seen multiple times in many cases. And what you were about to say is the big thing is no release dates.
Yeah, no
And
release dates, no platform information. It's like
yeah,
it's a bummer. That really kind of bums me out with any show. Is like the purpose of a show like this is to market to me. Give me a
yeah.
date to circle on my calendar. Let me know if I can even get it on my Switch, perhaps.
See, here's the big thing. If you are a video game developer, not everybody has every system under the sun. If you want to get people excited for your game, let them know they're going to be able to have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
Console information is paramount. It blows my mind. More develop, and this is a AAA developer problem as well sometimes, but it blows my mind that more developers aren't, that they don't take pains to be as upfront as possible with the planned platforms they're releasing on. Because a game could look cool, but it's always going to temper my excitement if I don't even know whether or not I'm going to be able to get it.
Right. Yeah.
So if you don't want to commit to a release date, completely understand, but at least tell us the platforms you're planning on. You can amend it later, you can add platforms later, but at least tell us the platforms. And I understand that some people are planning for stuff that they may not be able to satisfy. Some games may be trying and planning for a Nintendo Switch release, but for whatever reason, that may not come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
But that can't be the case for all of the games that we didn't get information on. And I really would like to see more indie developers be more upfront with that, because there are some games in here I want to be excited about. I really do. But until I know that I'm going to be able to have access to them, I don't want to get myself too excited, lest, it turn out that I'm going to have to buy another $500 system just to be able to play them.
Right. Yeah. And so and it makes our job kind of hard to spotlight this stuff because we're a Nintendo podcast and we want to highlight the Nintendo Switch releases, but there's not a whole lot of them with confirmed Nintendo Switch releases. So and in a lot of cases we have to do a lot of legwork to try to confirm or deny that, and so it makes things really difficult and unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, but with all that being said, I don't want to sound too down on it because there were some really cool games
There
shown
was.
here. Opening of course with Mina the Hollower, I think was a smart move.
It's Yacht Club Games. It's Mina the Hollower. You don't need to market that to me anymore. I'm buying it day one.
Yeah.
Anybody I think who's even remotely aware of Shovel Knight and the Shovel Knight IP is probably buying it day one. It's Mina the Hollower. It's Yacht Club Games.
Yeah. I kickstarted it. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting the game and it's coming to Switch, of course. So it's like cool. Like I'm down. I'm down for this. No release date again, but still, I'm ready. Just
But
bring
we
it on.
do know that one is coming to Switch.
Yes. Another one that we assume is coming to Switch. I can't specifically confirm this, but they say consoles, and that's a common thing. They'll say PC and consoles, but I assume that Snufkin is coming to Switch.
The Moomins!
Yeah, the Melody of Moomin Valley, if anybody remembers the old Moomin cartoon. And
if you do, you and Seth are best friends.
I liked Moomin. It was one of those things where you could tell it was kind of like I think we would watch it in like French class. It was like either that or Asterisk and Obelisk. So,
oh man, Asterisk and Obelisk. I lived in Europe for a few years I lived in Germany. They were huge in Europe when I was living over there in the early 90s. Like the kids section of the bookstores would be like there'd be an entire Asterisk and Obelisk section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's huge in Europe. And I think Moomin is sort of in that same vein. I believe it's like a Swedish property or something like that.
Yeah.
But in any case, they're doing this. They call it a musical adventure. It looks cute. I really like the art style. Supposed to come out next year, and again, PC and consoles for that. So we did see some more of Snufkin. So
yeah, kind of gives me some time on Frog Island vibes from that game.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I don't know. I really like that kind of hand drawn art style. I want to put out a public call. I
Yes,
I
yes, please.
I really need Frog Detective 3 to come out on Switch. Like the Frog
Just
Detective series,
the whole collection. The
I
whole
need it to
collection.
come out on Switch.
Frog
Like
Detective 1, 2, and 3, just bring it out. Bring out the physical collection on Switch, I'll buy it. The
I
fact
need
that
it.
that's not on Switch, how is that game not on Switch? That
It's
game looks
PC
like
only.
it was, yeah.
I don't
Well,
get
it's
it.
coming, it's Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass on PC. Like it's PC.
Oh,
So
it's not even Xbox Game Pass on Xbox?
I don't think so. I think it's just PC.
What?
So yeah,
How is that a thing?
I don't
That
know.
can't be a thing.
I don't know. I don't get it. And this is like I believe this is like a solo dev or a very small team, so it may be something like that. It does seem like they have like some more funding and stuff behind them with this one because they're talking about, you know, merch and stuff like that. And I've seen Frog Detective merch from like Fangamer and things like that. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think maybe they're ramping something up. Maybe they're kind of working with something, especially if they're kind of, you know, greasing the palms over at I am 8-bit and whatnot. I could see. I bet you it's going to happen. They're just kind of sitting on it. But the Frog Detective games, I need these on Switch, please. So but it was cool to see Frog Detective 3 Corruption at Cowboy County is finally out, and just bring them to Switch, please and thank you.
I really want Escape Academy on Switch too. That one's not coming to Switch, but I really
Yeah.
wish it was. It looks really cool.
Yeah, that one does look neat.
But I do want to talk about one, Seth. I do want to talk about, because who had DK King of Swing spiritual successor on their bingo card for 2022?
You know what? That is actually not the first game that I thought of when I saw Surmount, but that is a great call because that is very much what Surmount is.
What were you thinking? Get Over It?
Yeah, Get Over It was the first
Or
game.
Getting
that came
Over
to
It?
mind.
Yeah.
Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy was the first game that, and there's another game called Heave Ho that it reminded me of. But yeah, you're right.
I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, it's a King of Swing spiritual successor. And
It is.
Absolutely is. This new indie game coming out from a 2-person team called Surmount, who wound up during the pandemic. This is such an adorable story. Over the course of the pandemic, they wound up bonding while playing Animal Crossing: New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch. Got together and coded this game over the past couple of years. That's so adorable.
I love that. Yeah, and the game looks fun. Like it looks like a challenging, kind of goofy, physics based. You know, yeah, that's a great call because it is like that DK King of Swing thing where instead of shout outs to Liam here from the Retro Groove podcast here in the chat who loves King of Swing, and he was at that Nintendo Dads meetup that happened, and I was so very jealous. I'm just love you, Liam. I wish I was there. But anyway, it is very much King of Swing because it's, instead of having like little pegs that you hook onto and start swinging around on, it's like just rock faces.
You're like these little, like the sticky jelly figures that you would slam against the wall.
Yes.
They just kind of swing back and forth. It's like you're controlling one of those, but you have actual control over them.
Oh my gosh.
It's so weird. It's definitely worth checking out, and it looks like it is going to be fairly fun. I personally wasn't able to see if that was confirmed for a Switch release, but I mean they bonded over Animal Crossing: New Horizons. That's got to be planned for a Switch release.
Yeah, I have to imagine so. I think they just said PC and consoles.
Yeah.
So
the dreaded PC and consoles confirmation.
Yeah. So one that is, and this was a very weird announcement. One that is confirmed for Switch actually already has an eShop listing. So Roberta Williams, Ken and Roberta Williams, the founders of Sierra Online.
Yes, that old video game company, Sierra Online.
They went on to Day of the Devs and announced that they are remaking Colossal Cave Adventure, a text adventure from like the 80s, and they're remaking it as this weird, like, first person but still old school kind of navigation adventure game that frankly like looks like it was made for the PS3 or something, or PS2 even.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this, but it's a thing and it's coming, and yeah, okay.
I'm morbidly curious about this. A, because those two. They should have done at least one more take of that interview, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how do you translate a text-based adventure into the modern gaming landscape? What they're doing is they've made it, like Seth said, they've made it a first-person adventure, but they've still kept all the text and the description. So when you move, I don't know if you I don't know how it's going to control.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to. I don't know if there's going to be any typing involved whatsoever. But they keep a lot of that, heavily descriptive text in there because, again, that was the whole crux of the gameplay back in the day. That was how the game told you what you were seeing, is through these incredibly flowery sentences and incredibly descriptive language. But it is delivered with some suitably Richard Attenborough or
Yeah, that's
David
true.
Attenborough style narration, which I think is going to work out fairly well. But I am morbidly curious to try this out and to see how well a text-based game translates into 2022/2023.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. Yeah, morbidly curious is the best word I have for it. But I guess it's coming this year. It has an eShop page, says 2022. Cool. We'll see. Kind of in the same vein as this kind of like stay in this old school realm. Atari 50 was here.
Yep.
Which was cool. We're hyped for that. We of course had Stephen Frost on the show recently, talking about that. It is coming very soon. It's actually coming next week on November 11th.
Next week on the 11th. Yep.
Yep. So that's coming
next
very
week is
soon.
going to be a big week.
Yeah, it's a big release week, man.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I've already got the Steelbook pre-ordered. I'm very excited for that. Obviously, Stephen Frost, definitely go back and check out that interview. That was a fantastic interview. We had him on, not just talking about the Atari 50th collection, but about the Cowabunga collection as well, the TMNT Cowabunga collection, which garnered all types of reviews and praise for how well and how comprehensive that collection was. And it looks like they've gone even further than that with the Atari 50th collection. If you've ever even remotely been interested in the history of video games and Atari's role in that, this is probably going to be right up your alley. I know, like I said, I've already pre-ordered the Steelbook myself. That's a day one. Really looking forward to seeing how that entire package comes through. That black and gold is pretty nice.
It is.
But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
Come to that interview for the TMNT and the Atari. Stay for the Sonic Boom. That's all I'll say about that. I got to talk to him about Sonic Boom, and that was worth it.
He did indeed.
So we got there are a few other things here that, again, we're not 100. We know Thirsty Suitors is coming to the Switch. Still no release date for that. That's this kind of like Scott Pilgrim-esque, got some skateboarding stuff going on in there. Looks cool, looks interesting.
Yeah. And for like the 5th or 6th time, we saw the fight against the first X in the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kind of just ready for that to come out. I am interested in it. I think it looks cool, but it is getting a little long in the tooth. Let's just go ahead and just wait until the game comes out.
Either that or show us a different part of the game.
Something, right? Yeah. Kind of in a similar vein, this was a brand new announcement as far as I know. Yes. I've never heard of it before. Dead Pets Unleashed.
Yes.
This looks
really cool. This looks nuts. It looks absolutely nuts. You are a demon punk band who... the weird thing is you would, think of demon punk band. Basically, the game looks like some type of, more colorful interpretation of Metalocalypse or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
But a lot of the core gameplay, according to the developers at least, is going to be text and conversational based. That's going to be a lot of the core gameplay, is navigating the personal relationships the band members have with each other as they're trying to launch their careers as a successful underworld demonic punk band, as you do.
Like you do.
But there are going to be some really interesting looking mini games. They've got an Overcooked style isometric play as a waiter at a demonic cafe mini game. You've got a rhythm-based mini game in there, of course, because you're a band and you're required to have a rhythm mini game in your title because of that. But the visual style, the variety, it looks super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually very interested in that. And that actually does have a confirmed Switch port. So hopefully we'll be hearing more about Dead Pets Unleashed very soon. I am into it. I know you were kind of hoping to see Terra Nil on Switch. Hopefully we
I
see that.
was, yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
confirmed for PC and Netflix of all
Yeah.
things. But I could really use a game like that. Something really chill and almost like an antithesis to SimCity.
Yeah, it's sort of it's like a city like an anti-city builder.
Yeah,
Like a countryside builder.
yeah. So the whole crux of Terra Nil, I mean, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's not coming to Switch.
Yeah.
But in the crux of the game is you go into these barren landscapes, and your job is to use a bunch of super advanced technology to reinvigorate the land with ponds and waterfalls and vegetation and new flora and fauna, a brand new ecosystem for these barren wastelands, and then take all your stuff and get out.
Yep.
So, but it looks really cool, and I really wish it was coming to the Nintendo Switch. However, comma Seth, one game that is coming to Switch is Gunbrella.
Gunbrella is coming to Switch, and we got a trailer for it here, which is cool. We still don't know
Yeah.
a release date. So again, not a whole, but we do know that that's coming to Switch. We just don't know a whole lot more about it than that. It's a new game from Doinksoft, and like, yeah, look, it looks great, but I want to know more. Like, give me something.
Yeah.
So
We did get two games shown off that I wasn't personally really tracking from the Black Voices in Gaming initiative.
mhm.
And those both I thought looked really, really interesting. Slime Heroes basically takes what appears to be a Dragon Quest slime type character
Yeah,
and puts them into a very colorful type of 3D action adventure style game where you can get different charms and abilities to where you can use your slime and change it into different amorphous weapons and stuff. It actually looks really, really cool.
does
So
look cool.
I really hope that comes to the Nintendo Switch. The visual style, I think, is very painted and very cartoonish, but it looks really good and I think works for the atmosphere they're going with. So I'd be very interested to play that if it does come to Nintendo. And then on the complete other end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
the other game that we got shown off from Black Voices in Gaming is this, I guess, online 3D arena fighter samurai sword fighting game. It looks like Cyberpunk meets For Honor, I guess, basically.
This
Like
reminds
Deus
me of,
Ex meet For Honor.
so Samurai Zero reminds me of something very, very specific. And
Okay.
I imagine you probably didn't play this, but if there's anybody out there who ever played Guns the Duel back in the day, it was an online sort of PC game in like the early to mid 2000s. This reminds me so much of Guns the Duel. It was the first thing that popped in my head when I saw this. And Guns with a Z, the Duel.
Of
And
course, because
this
early 2000s.
it was this sort of just edgelord samurai cowboy PvP game, and I loved it. So Samurai Zero is kind of scratching that itch for me. Shoutouts to Sam here in the chat, Third Strongest Mole, who says, "Wait, that description of Terra Nil reminds me of Star Wars Episode 1 Gungan Frontier." Wow. I thought Guns the Duel was going to be the deep cut of the episode. That, my friend, is a deep cut. So
That's not a game. He just made that up, ladies and gentlemen.
just threw out in a word generator.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not a real thing.
Yeah. So
Sam, quit making up words.
Yeah, exactly. So we saw this game, Sunshine Shuffle, which not confirmed, but probably coming to Switch. It's kind of like in that Slime Heroes vein where like there's no real reason this shouldn't come to Switch. It's a poker game. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's a poker game. So I mean, if you like poker, cool. To be completely honest, I'm very much a solid meh with
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah. I wasn't, it didn't really do much for me either. What the Bat is a VR only game, but What the Golf is on Switch. So
What the Golf is on Switch, and it's really cool. So if you have VR, maybe check it out. What the Golf is a really, really interesting take on the golf genre. So I hope What the Bat is a continuation of that. And the last game that was shown off is another game that has been a known quantity for a long time. We really thought we were going to get it toward the end of 2022. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we are still very excited for Sea of Stars.
Yep, saw some new footage from Sea of Stars, which looks, continues to look cool. Happy to see
Mhm.
it. Excited for it whenever it comes out. I will say
Yes.
though, the only
Yes.
the only other game
Yes.
that we haven't covered yet
Yes. We
from
waited
this,
specifically to the end.
and I really hope that this comes to Switch because I thought this looked
Me
so
too.
cool.
It does look really cool.
Evolutus Duality. This like
Now we're
cyberpunk.
making up words.
Yeah, now we're making up words. Yeah, it's Evolutus Duality Gungan Frontier is but no, Evolutus Duality, it's this very cool looking hand-drawn sort of 2D like cyberpunk.
Neon punk,
It looks
it's-
really cool.
it's like if Don Bluth did the heavy metal movie from the 80s.
Yeah, and it reminds me of like those Quantic Dream games like Heavy Rain and stuff. But
I can
like
see that, yeah.
but done up in this sort of style. Like it does have that kind of, it does remind you a little bit of like a Dragon's Lair or something
Exactly, yeah. The animation is very 80s.
like that.
The like a lot of the character animations and movements almost look like they were overlaid with old stills and old frames from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from the 80s.
I
A lot
love
of it looks really, really cool. A lot of the gameplay, there seems to be a lot of variety, some like 2D stealth stuff, and
Yep.
then some weird, unique, experimental style, maybe Arkham style combat with counters and combos and things. But it looks so interesting. Definitely not going to be for kids. This is going to get
No.
a hard M rating. But if you're old enough, definitely check out Evolutus. That was both Seth and I's game of show.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that. I really hope that comes to Switch. I'm going to be keeping my eye on that. Again, no platform or release information, which is kind of, the general sort of complaint about the show. But overall, as you can tell, I mean, we come away from the show like hyped about the game shown. Just want more information on them, and there were definitely some highlights. So here's hoping, man.
Yeah, here's hoping. Give us reasons to continue to be excited for these games. Maybe they did it specifically as like, well, if we don't confirm the consoles that these are coming to, maybe everybody will be talking about them.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Well,
sinister plot to get the Nintendo podcast to talk about games that are not coming to the Nintendo Switch.
there you go. Yeah, mission success, I suppose. Well,
I guess.
in terms of things that we can look forward to though and be excited about, we did get some news about the Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope season pass this week.
We got
Which
all
was
the
cool.
information.
We finally know kind of everything that's coming. To be honest, and I think you and I are in the same boat on this.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Very hyped for the like Rayman DLC, which we knew was coming. That is probably going to be like the big Donkey Kong adventure sized expansion and everything. Hyped for that. That one's coming at the end of next year though. So we have, a full calendar year to wait for Rayman, which kind of stinks. But the other two pieces of DLC in this pack, so the first one's coming early next year, and it's going to be the Tower of Doom with four O's.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. It says face your doom in a new combat game mode. And again, we will be reviewing that later in the episode. And, spoilers, we really like the combat in the game. So it is going to be cool to get a combat game mode, but it's like, that's the first DLC? Like, that kind of stinks, It'd be, if that was
just
out,
a new game mode. Yeah. The only thing that we have to look forward to for the game until summer, especially after you've really hyped up the Gold Edition and the Season Pass and everything. And speaking of the season, excuse me. And speaking of the Season Pass, the Tower of Doom expansion specifically, is only going to be available on the Season Pass. So if this is something you're looking forward to, you will have to just straight up buy the entire Season Pass. Which, I mean, I'm not a big fan of when developers do this anyway. I understand why they're trying to move as many season passes as possible, try to keep people from, just piecemealing, because they know the Rayman expansion is clearly going to be the star
Right.
of the show and the one that everybody wants. So in order to sell more season passes and keep people from just buying the Rayman expansion, because that is far and away the big centerpiece of this season pass, you've got to make some season pass exclusive style content, make it seem even more premium, and get that FOMO going that you and I have been feeling so much this week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we do have, I will say, DLC 2 looks like it could be cool. It seems like DLC 2 might be kind of a middle ground where we don't know much about it. The description we have here is heroes confront a mysterious foe on a new enchanting planet. So it's probably going to be a little bit of an epilogue to the story, or maybe they're going to like shoehorn it into the main story. Considering the way the story ends, I don't really know where they're going to go with it.
Give me an Edge and the Spark Hunter spinoff now.
Yeah, and that sort of seems like kind of what this is a little bit. The
That's what I'm
implication,
hoping.
yeah, the implication is that this character that we see here in the artwork is a former Spark Hunter. We saw like a destroyed statue that many people thought was Edge, but turns out it's probably this character that we see here in this picture. So, who knows?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Because in the Tower of Doom DLC, they may be trying to connect some of the DLC. Obviously, the Tower of Doom is going to be its own separate thing, a game mode.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is a very interesting returning character in the key art for the Tower of Doom from the first game.
That's true. Yeah.
I wonder, because that character was essentially a living MacGuffin for the entirety of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, the first title. So maybe this former Spark Hunter might possibly, mayhaps, be going after that character again. And that could be the crux of the narrative going into the expansion.
That'd be cool. Hey, don't put any Mario Rabbids theories out there, my friend. Don't learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. Don't do this. I gotta try to warn you.
That's fair.
Yeah, but that's coming in mid 2023, and then of course we've got the Rayman DLC at the end of 2023. The description here is Rayman, Rabid Peach, and Rabid Mario embark on their own adventure, and I'm sure it's gonna be great. Like I'm sure this is going to be really good. Again, DK adventure size. I'm looking forward to seeing what Rayman's kit is going to be like, his skill tree, and all of this. I'm hoping
the DK expansion
sparks
to the first game was a ton of fun.
It really was.
The problem is with the DK expansion from the first game is it wasn't just DK that we got to play with. It wasn't just one new character that we got to play around with. And again, I'm sure this is going to be great, but after having an expansion from the first title that gave us an entire new team of new toys to play around with, in this second game, having a big expansion with only one new character, granted that character is a big addition to the franchise and a beloved video game icon that many people are just happy to be coming back.
Right.
But it is tough to feel like they shouldn't have thrown in a couple more, some more new blood into the mix.
Yeah, Rabid Glowbox.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yeah, where's that?
Somebody actually, when we did our top 5 of characters who needed to show up in the DLC for Sparks of Hope, I saw somebody in the Discord put Rabid Glowbox, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea.
That I actually thought that's what they were gonna do. Like, because I thought Rabid Glowbox would basically be the Rabid Cranky Kong of this one.
Rabid Glowbox, the Great Fairy, somebody.
Yeah. There's a lot they could do with it, but again, I know that there are a lot of people that are honestly just happy to see Rayman come back. So I think that's probably good enough for the vast majority of people. Just seeing Rayman back in some sort of playable context. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. I am
too, but knowing that they basically spilled all the big information about the entire season pass in just one fell swoop, that there was nothing really of note, that there was nothing really to get people hyped beyond that for the entire rest of the season pass, it's hard not to feel just a little disappointed when looking at the entire breadth of what we're getting.
Yeah. Reset here in the chat. Shoutouts to Reset. A great guy. Keep Nintendo Weird alumni. He was on the ARMS episode. Just a great dude. Definitely check him out here on YouTube. Reset says, I really hope Rayman still meets Mario in some way, even if the gameplay is just Rayman and the rabbits. I hope so too. Especially like in the kind of like plot of that adventure, I hope that things kind of coalesce and like come back around, and Rayman can sort of meet the Mario Rabbids gang, and it's not just simply Rabbid Peach and Rabbid Mario. So we'll see. That would be cool. You got to imagine something like that's in there. It's Davide Soliani. You know, he's going to make these fanboy dreams come true.
We'll see. We've got almost an entire year of waiting, but still very much looking forward to that expansion when it does drop late 2023.
Yes, yes. Well, we don't have to wait too long, Eric. We are in the throes of the holiday 2022 season. It's officially November. Here at the beginning of November, Nintendo did go ahead and reveal their Black Friday 2022 deals. And it's pretty much, I think this is like, I forced an AI to, to look at all of the Nintendo, Black Friday deals since 2017. And this is what it came up with. It's exactly what you expect.
It feels like the safest Nintendo Black Friday deal that we've seen yet. I don't know if it's the fact that we're in the 6th year of the Nintendo Switch's lifespan at this point, but yeah, if you still haven't picked up a Nintendo Switch, yeah, sure, go ahead, get one.
Yeah.
The core system is $300, comes with 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online, comes with, go figure, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You've got some really notable games that are going to be $20 off. You've got a couple games that set at a couple different discounts. There's nothing about the Black Friday deals that really blows my socks off.
Right.
But I mean, if you've still not got a Nintendo Switch yet, A, thank you for listening. And B, okay, Nintendo, cool. This makes me feel the exact same way that the new N64 icons appearing on the NSO did. It really feels the exact same way to me. It's like, cool, but do you really think that is going to be a factor in people's decision making?
Right. Yeah.
Do you really think you've done enough to actually make that a factor in people's decision making?
Yeah, it kind of reeks of like complacency to me. Like, it kind of is just like, yeah, like we know we can just throw out this same old bundle that we've done every year since 2017. People are still going to buy it. Don't worry, it's all good. It just, I don't know, like, it kind of bums me out. I kind of wish, and even the games that are going on sale are like old games, like, so we've got for $39.99 Mario Party Superstars, Breath of the Wild, New Horizons, Link's Awakening, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. That is a new game, to be fair. We got Bravely Default 2. I mean, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit's going on sale. WarioWare Get It Together, Big Brain Academy are going to be 33% off. These, like, there's nothing really that, even like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I was kind of expecting was going to get a sale. That came out earlier in the year. I'm a little surprised to see this.
The Nintendo Black Friday deals this year do seem really low effort. Especially, we've seen some really good sales on the Nintendo Switch this year. Some deeply discounted games to go in conjunction with different events. As a matter of fact, the Day of the Dev sale from E3 timeframe, or heck, just the E3 sale that we had just a couple months ago was fantastic. Different developers and publishers over the course of this year have had really good, deeply discounted sales on Nintendo Switch to go along with different anniversaries that they're celebrating and different other things that they have going on. So for the big, Black Friday is still kind of considered the big holiday shopping sales season. It just seems low effort to me. I mean, I'm glad that they're discounted. I'm glad people will save money. And it's not like I'm not appreciative that Nintendo is discounting stuff when they don't honestly really ever need to. I mean, the games are going to sell anyway. So it is nice that they are doing it. But if you are going to do it, do it. It just seems like a half-hearted effort to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's completely plausible too that, and this is a pretty like third party heavy year as well. It's possible that we see some third party releases go on sale. We'll see. Reset here in the chat makes the point. Black Friday is usually where I catch up on PlayStation rather than Nintendo because Nintendo does typically have a pretty weak, Black Friday offering. And for my part too, just being such a Nintendo fan and being a Nintendo content creator, of course, a lot of this stuff I already own. You
Yep.
know, nothing really excites me here. In terms of like Black Friday, I mostly am looking for like tech stuff on Black Friday. I'm gonna be looking for like a new webcam and stuff like that rather than games. I know a lot of people are kind of holding out on Black Friday to pick up Mario Rabbids, so that's more than likely going to go on sale. It's a Ubisoft game. It's probably going to go on sale. I think it's worth full price, but we'll talk about that later in the show. But yeah, this is definitely, and this is one of those things where it does reek of complacency. And I would like even a Switch OLED. We just got that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch OLED bundle just came out. It'd be cool to see Switch OLED getting pushed a little bit harder. It just they came out that Splatoon 3 Switch OLED. Like it'd be cool to see these things being pushed. Like who's really going to buy a standard Nintendo Switch when you can pay $50 more and get a Switch OLED? Why isn't that the model you're pushing? Seems weird.
It does seem weird, but I mean, we'll see. It's going to continue to pad Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's numbers as the best-selling game in the Nintendo Switch's library. Yep. So it almost just seems like Nintendo is trying to get that game. They're trying to bully that game to like 70 million or something.
Well, and I do wonder if that's going to be the turning point. I wonder if that's when we're going to see, because we already know that Wave 3 of the Booster Pass course is coming and coming this holiday. So I wonder if they're going to time that specifically around the end of November, beginning of December. We'll see.
Well, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 3 months of free Nintendo Switch online, aka the Booster Pass course.
It's not expansion pack. It's just regular Nintendo Switch Online. So you wouldn't.
That even seems less half-hearted.
Yeah, it's just standard NSO. So
just a sec. Yeah. So the free NSO, the free 3 months of NSO isn't even the expansion pack.
Nope. Just regular NSO.
Wait for Target and Best Buy's Black Friday deals, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you might at least get like a gift card thrown in there or something like that. So a little weak.
That's pretty weak, Nintendo. That's pretty weak.
Weak sauce.
Weak sauce. But I get to talk about something because it's partly my show. I get to talk about something that I'm super excited for, that I'm sure very many of you aren't. But again, this is partly my show. So, but I am unreasonably excited for the fact that SNK finally officially announced. They had teased it prior. We had known about its existence officially, but they finally officially announced a couple days ago the existence of the SNK Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection Volume Dos. And it's coming next week. Actually, just a few days away at this point. I am going to wait for the physical like I did with the first selection of games. But again, I know it's just a glorified Game Boy Color, but I am unreasonably excited for this game collection. Weirdly, SNK posted the game art, the key art, the presumably box art for the game when they announced it, but they didn't actually confirm the full list of games. Although a lot of Neo Geo and a lot of SNK superfans in the thread, a lot of Neo Geo and SNK superfans in the Twitter thread were able to cobble together a list of what the games probably are based on the key art, because the game shows basically everything, all the different characters and games that are represented within. So we're more than like front and center is Mega Man Power Mega Man the Power Battle and Power Fighters kind of demake that's on there. So we've got a golf game. We've got, and we knew this was going to be the case, that Neo Geo Pocket Color card game, that 2-pack game that was released on the Nintendo Switch. That's absolutely being on there. Puzzle Link, Pocket Tennis, Biomotor Unitron, Baseball Stars, Big Bang Pro Wrestling, and potentially King of Fighters R-1. The weird thing is, I was kind of hoping, and it makes me wonder if the reason that they waited so long to officially announce this, and the fact that it's coming out so soon after it was announced, a lot of people don't know this. There was an officially licensed Sonic the Hedgehog game on the Neo Geo Pocket Color called Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure, which was developed by SNK.
Right.
Licensed and published by Sega, but developed by SNK. And it's weirdly a good pseudo port of the first Sonic game. There was, especially after Mega Man Battle and Fighters got released separately, individually on the Nintendo Switch a while back, which we talked about, I did wonder if whether or not we were going to get that Sonic game and whether or not SNK was in talks with Sega to bring that game over to the Nintendo Switch as well, which is why they might have been waiting so long on this official announcement. And the reason that here we are, I was like, well, we're not going to get it. Let's just go ahead and make the announcement and drop it next week. That's complete, speculation on my part. But I do have to wonder if there was a slight chance that we could have potentially gotten Sonic Pocket Adventure on this collection. But either way, that does not come to pass, and I'm still going to be more than happy with it when it does come out next week, and when I eventually get my greedy little SNK fanboy hands on the physical version of this collection. Again, I'm sure a lot of you out there don't care, but I do. So, and I'm super excited for it. And if you want to be excited with me, let's be excited together. I'll see you in the Discord.
Hey, look, I'm happy you're happy. That's all I'll say. If you like it, I love it, man.
We were in the middle of recording something when
he gasped. He gasped and clutched his pearls mid-recording when this was announced. So I can vouch for his excitement. I heard it live. Yeah, he sounded like he was having a heart attack over there. I was getting a little concerned.
I am excited.
Really, really quickly before we hit our notable releases and wrap up, I know there was this story this fun little story that came out this week that we wanted to just quickly mention because it is a fun little story that happened in NASCAR of all things.
Yes. So what was the name of the driver? Oh man, I should know this.
So it's Ross Chastain.
Yes. So Ross Chastain this past weekend during a NASCAR stock car race, pulled an insane move in the final lap of the race to jump, like not even the final lap, the final turn of the race to jump from 10th place to 5th place, which in just the final turn is ridiculous in a NASCAR race. Is absolutely ridiculous. And he did this by essentially driving into the wall and using his momentum of driving into the wall to essentially slingshot him along the wall.
It was a wall ride.
Yeah, it was a wall ride. And the announcers went absolutely nuts. They had never seen anything like it. And he may have fundamentally changed NASCAR stock car racing for the foreseeable future, because I guarantee you more people are going to start trying this move, considering how incredibly effective its first implementation was. And the whole reason that we're even talking about any of this right now is because in the post-race interview, when people were trying to figure out how in the world he even thought to do that, he actually said, well, I used to do it a lot on the GameCube in NASCAR Thunder 2005. That is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. A literal video game maneuver from 17 years ago just may have fundamentally changed the world of stock car driving. What is even 2022?
Yeah, him doing that set the record for the fastest lap on that track. So, I mean, he may well have made history, and it's all because of a NASCAR game on the GameCube.
I love that so much.
Just a fun story. Great. Just a fun story. We had to talk about that for just a second.
So great. That's so amazing.
Yeah, man. So shout outs to Ross Chastain, and hey, you never know. Maybe all that time spent playing GameCube was not time wasted at all.
Yeah. Turns out all of our parents were wrong.
That's right. But let's hit some of these notable releases, man. We got a pretty stacked week.
We do have a very stacked week. Some big, big releases. But since we just talked a little bit about NSO and the fact that the expansion pack isn't included in it, but we've already talked about that. But some good NSO news from this past week. We did finally get Mario Party 1 and 2 added to the Nintendo 64 NSO apps. And I've got to say, I'm really impressed by the emulation
Oh, good.
from these games.
They've been getting better lately with that.
Yeah, they really have. They look really crisp. They play really well. At least I don't know if there's any individual mini games or stuff that are bugged or anything. I haven't found anything. Again, game's only been out for a couple days, but
Right.
just from what I've played, I've personally been really impressed with the emulation for these two. I hope we can get to online and play. That would be fantastic.
Just make sure you're wearing your glove when you're playing that.
That's the best part. That is far and away the best part. I booted it up, and the first thing that appears on the screen when the when the NSO tag is still there at the very top of the screen, it actually gives a warning not to
Burn
do
a
that
hole
classic.
in your hand.
Yeah. Not to rotate the joystick with the palm of your hand, which I immediately did for one of the games in Mario Party 1 anyway. There's a little mini game where you have to ride an electric bike to generate power for
It really is
a
the best
light.
way to do it.
It really is the best way to do it. But Nintendo's not giving out gloves anymore.
Right.
So
yeah.
that was a thing that actually happened in the wake
That
of
is a
Mario
thing.
Party back in 1998. So, but I love the fact that they knew people were still going to do it. They absolutely knew.
Oh yeah.
But following the fallout from 1998, they were like, let's at least throw a disclaimer in there.
Let's cover ourselves just a little bit
Yeah,
there.
just a little bit. But I love the fact that was included. But
Yeah.
It was really cool to play the Mario Party Superstars demake on the Nintendo 64 this week.
I almost wish they would have thrown just a little something in there, like, we're not sending you gloves this time. Just
I would have respected that.
yeah.
Just
Sam
right
in
at the
chat,
end, it's like, don't do this. We're not, we're not going to be held accountable this time.
Yeah, Sam here in the chat notates that what we've learned this week is that the most effective methods for turning rapidly are dangerous. So this is true. That's what we've learned. Yeah, so we got those hit on NSO, which is cool. GoldenEye must be coming in December. That's gotta be the December game at this point, because it's supposed to come this year. They even said in their press release that GoldenEye was still coming in 2022. So that's gotta be the December game. That's gotta be the Christmas game, I gotta imagine. So.
When does their quarter end for their financial?
Well, the financial quarter will end in the fiscal year will end in April, but
Yep.
it goes through the end of December 31st for everything else. So yeah, probably. It may literally be the end of December for all we know.
Yeah.
But,
So they're going to drop that massive new booster course pack for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They're going to drop GoldenEye, and even if it's just for a couple months, they're going to watch people just rake in the new expansion pack subscriptions, and then go into their investors meeting, their stockholders meeting, and be like, look what an upswing we're on right now.
right. Yeah. Hey, in December we got a whole bunch of new subs because of this and that. So
Yeah.
I gotta imagine that's what's coming.
Which totally aren't going to fall off in the next couple months.
Yeah. Yeah, we already shouted out the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch OLED did come out this week, of course.
Yes,
got
it did.
Really cool little bundle there. Does not come with a copy of the game. Worth noting, does not come with a copy of the game. But does have themed Joy-Cons and the themed dock and everything. Our friend Drew Agnew actually did a really good unboxing video on his channel that you guys should check out. So if you want to see that and what it looks like. So
I like it. I'm glad that the Splatoon one came out before this, because I probably would have, because this one does look really good.
yeah.
I really like the Scarlet and Violet one. They've done a lot with it, just like they did with the Splatoon 3 one, but I do still personally prefer the Splatoon 3 one. So I am glad that it came out, because I would have been so mad if that one came out after I'd already bought a brand new Switch OLED special edition. So, but it does look really cool. Let us know if you're picking it up.
Yeah, for sure. Lonesome Village came out. This is kind of a cool little like Zelda / life sim looking thing. Actually, our friend Locklith is going to be covering this on her channel pretty soon. So check out Locklith's channel for some coverage on Lonesome Village. Looks really cool. There's just so many games coming out. It's hard. It's hard to put anything to the top of the queue.
I know. I still want to try like the Disney Dreamlight Valley. They're going to be releasing a ton more stuff in leading up to the official release of that game. And I really would just like to try it. But the holiday season, man, too much stuff.
Yep, for sure. Kind of in that same vein, Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom came out this week. There is a demo available for that, so you can check out a free demo if you're interested in these kind of like farming life sim games. There's quite a few in this genre.
Yeah.
This week, because Harvestella also came out this week from Square Enix, and people are enjoying it. It's getting some good reviews. It just came out, and I'll be interested to hear. Again, Eric and I just have too much on our plates. We're probably not getting to that anytime soon, but just yet another massive, farming life sim RPG added to the pile. Let's see. I talked about Runbox Run a little bit earlier. Free if you own other TUI games, so definitely check that out. Shatter Remastered Deluxe, Eric.
No, it didn't.
So
it didn't come out.
It came
All
out.
Right. So Seth and I both bought it. You did buy it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this game is an old PSN, a PlayStation Network game from the PS3.
One of the first big, prolific PS3 indie games. Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, there were still some really stellar offerings on the PS3 when that came out. And I remember having just a really bizarre relationship with this game because I played it on the recommendation of IGN at the time. And honestly, this was a game that made me stop reading IGN for a few years because IGN did a countdown. They did a list of their favorite games on the PlayStation Network, the games they thought were the best offerings on the PlayStation Network. And again, it's been so long, I can't remember any specifics, but I do very vividly remember there being some absolutely stellar offerings on the PlayStation Network at the time. But for some reason, they decided to name Shatter the best game on the PlayStation Network. And don't get me wrong, it's good. Maybe even Indie Showcase worthy. Seth and I are both playing it. And it's a really interesting take on the brick breaker genre, of which Seth and I are both fans. But it blew my mind that an entire organization, and I know one person wrote the article, I do, but it was under IGN's banner, and it just blew my mind that as a banner, as a organization, they could be like, we are comfortable naming this game the best game on the PlayStation Network. And I was like, how?
Yeah.
How is this the best? And I actually stopped reading IGN for a considerable length of time after that. I enjoyed the game. Don't get me wrong, but that's like saying that, Immortals Phoenix Rising is the best game on the Nintendo Switch. Like, it's good. I like it. But man, are you omitting some objectively amazing titles?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one thing you should all understand about Eric. Do not put a list in front of Eric if you are not ready for it to be scrutinized. Eric will take you to task for your list. He's a man that takes lists seriously. That's why we do lists every week on the show. He takes his list seriously.
We do take our list very seriously. We cultivate, you guys know this by now, we take a lot of time to cultivate our lists. Not saying that our lists are the definitive lists in each category that we've ever done, although some of them really are. Some of them really are. But I mean, like, you can have your opinions, but there's just some objective truths about the universe that you can't deny, ladies and gentlemen. But I am still glad that Shadow Remastered Deluxe is on the Nintendo Switch. And for the sake of Seth and I having this conversation, when that game came out, Seth told me, and I was thinking the exact same thing, I need to give this game a proper another shot.
Right.
Specifically because of this. I need to verify my own bias against this game. So I bought it and I'm going to play through it again. And we're more than likely going to be talking about Shattered Remastered Deluxe at a future date.
Yes, I think this warrants further exploration, is what I'll say. I really like the game. Like, I liked it when it came out. Is it Critter Crunch? No, it's not Critter Crunch. Is it Tokyo Jungle? No. Like, there are other PSN games that I really enjoyed on PlayStation 3. But I still really liked it. It's probably the last really unique brick breaker that I can remember coming out, and I have had a bit of a hankering for a good brick breaker. So I'm looking forward to kind of spending some time with it. So we did have a couple of other things. How to Say Goodbye came out this week. That's that sort of puzzle game about ghosts that was actually featured at the summer Day of the Devs.
Hmm.
So that looks cool. Definitely interested in that. I know you were looking at checking out Tabs.
A little bit, just out of morbid curiosity. This totally accurate battle simulator where you can just throw in a bunch of random units onto a battlefield and just kind of see. We've all seen those PC meme videos of like Godzilla against 5,000 Spartans and
Right.
stupid stuff like that. This is essentially a interactive video game version of those stupid PC video memes, and it
Yeah.
looks like it'll be. I'm not expecting it to be, not expecting it to be true. Life is Strange over
Sure.
here, but it could be some dumb fun for a while, and that's all I'm expecting from it, and that's all I would really pick it up for. It's just some occasional momentary dumb fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
However,
and then yeah,
however,
however,
there's a game that came out this week that I am much more interested in. By far the most notable release from this past week, at least in my opinion, is the Nintendo Switch finally has the Neo co-op classic, It Takes Two.
Yes. I'm very excited to finally have this on
Yes.
Switch, a game that I have played through multiple times and will be playing through again with you, Eric.
Yes, we are going to be streaming our playthrough
Yes.
at some point. Definitely stay tuned for that. I cannot wait for that. Very much looking forward to, especially with somebody who has experience with the game on other consoles.
Right.
Very much looking forward to see how kind of a new person coming in to the game and somebody who's already experienced the game on more powerful hardware, what we both have to say about the experience. So
I think
very
we've
much
got
looking
the
forward to that.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have the perfect sort of setup for this. I think it'll be super fun to play with
Yep.
you, to stream it, and then to do like a full indie showcase discussion on it. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of when we'll get around to it, it's probably gonna be like late November, early December or something, because we just have so much on our plate right now. But when we get to it, trust you guys will know.
Yes.
We will scream and shout about it, and I am very much looking for it. That's going to be a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Yes, this is definitely a game we are planning to have finished before Golden Aces season. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
definitely a game that we want to make sure is in proper consideration for the Golden Aces, because just like our lists, we take our awards very seriously as well here at All In.
Yes,
But-
very much so.
But I think we've got, you think we've got enough to do in the foreseeable future, my friend? You think we've
Yeah.
got just enough on our docket to
A
keep
few
us busy?
few games here and there maybe to play. I think, yeah.
But there's so much going on. Some of it we're going to miss. Some awesome stuff we're going to miss. So we would love to tell, or we would love rather you to tell us about all the awesome stuff going on that you're playing. Reach out to us on Facebook, on Twitter, at All In Podcast. Join our conversation. Join our amazing community over on a Discord. Added more members even just this past week. Thank you so much. And don't forget, as always, to like, follow, and subscribe to us on youtube.com/allinpodcast. If you happen to be watching live right now, as I'm saying this, maybe just hover your mouse or your finger if you're watching us on your phone. Maybe just hover whatever appendage you have closest to the screen at the time. Hover right over that bell and that subscribe button, and maybe just tap the screen a little bit right there. Maybe just tap it a little bit. Subscribe to youtube.com/allinpodcast, because in addition to doing all of this stuff, the weekly news roundups here every Friday night at youtube.com/allinpodcast, we do a ton of other stuff as well. Seth dropped a brand new episode of Behind Enemy Lines. Keep Nintendo Weird with our good friend Barry Carinza from Premium Edition Games is coming up.
Yep.
Another very special episode of Keep Nintendo Weird is also coming up in the near future.
Yep.
We will tell you about that soon. Also, make sure to be on the lookout for our playthrough of It Takes Two. Just so much going on. But again, like I said, we do the weekly stuff here every Friday night. But if for some reason you cannot join us Friday nights for our news roundups, we do have All In, a Nintendo podcast, the podcast, which you can like, follow, and subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts from. Just wherever you get your podcast from. We do so much here at the All In brand, slowly taking over the Nintendo world, you guys really need to jump in at the ground level of the movement. And you know how you can do that? By becoming a patron.
Ooh, jump in at the ground level. Join the forces over at patreon.com/allinpodcast. We've got 3 great tiers for you to check out. Head over there and see which tier works for you. Everything from shout outs at the top of our podcast, everything from early access to videos like Behind Enemy Lines, voting rights on things like Keep Nintendo Weird, exclusive podcasts that we do every single week, 2 exclusive podcasts, all sorts of benefits, Discord roles, and emojis for our top tier patrons. There's so much going on, so many benefits. We're really proud of the value we offer over there. If you have some bones to throw our way, put a little tip in the old tip jar. And if you don't have any bones to throw, though, Eric, there actually is a way you can support the show entirely for free.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't have any literal bones because it is the end of spooky season. But you guys still should have like you got money in your trick or treat baskets, right? People are just giving away $20 bills.
Is that what they do? Holy cow!
I don't know. But if you're not, if you still need a little bit more of a push before you become a patron, you can still do it. You can get like the demo patron level.
Oh, there you
go.
Demo,
the free patron level.
Beta access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do they do that, Seth?
They can drop some words over on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, and on Audible. You can leave us 5-star written reviews, and on Spotify, you can leave us a 5-star rating, which is a very free and very appreciated way for you to show your support. If you do that, we will shout out your review at the top of the show. And again, just very, very appreciated way to help us climb those rankings, put our show in front of the people who need to see and hear it. We appreciate it so much.
We do. We have so much fun making the show and everything associated with it, guys. We are so happy that you guys enjoy and continue to consume our content. And however you choose to support us, whether or not you are a patron, whether or not you drop some words, whether or not you just come and hang out with 2 massive Nintendo dorks that unfortunately weren't able to go to New York City this week. Grr. Thank you guys so much for however you choose to support us. Namaste.
Namaste. That's the news, folks. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate it. We had a few chatters tonight.
Nice.
Liam was here. Reset was here. Sam was here. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out and helping us break down the news. There was a lot going on this week, so we had a lot to talk about. Yeah. And again, as we kind of said at the top, but I'll just repeat it here, this is but one part of the podcast. This is just the beginning. We do have a bunch of other segments that happen in the podcast itself, which goes live tomorrow on podcast services. That's All N, a Nintendo podcast. ALLN, just like the little image here on the screen, just like the channel name. You know how to spell All N. Don't search All In. That'll get you the wrong thing. Search All In, a Nintendo podcast, and you'll find us on your podcast feeds. And yeah, so we're going to have a top 5 this week. We are doing, in honor of Dia de los Muertos, we're doing a top 5. Oh man, Lockleth says, got here at the very end. Power's been out for hours, but storm is calm. Lockleth did tell me that they had a tornado touchdown. So hopefully,
you okay, Lockleth?
Okay,
everything
Lockleth.
Okay?
Yeah, I hope everything's okay over there. Hope everybody's safe. Hope the dogs and everything are safe.
How dare you, tornado?
I did have some wind and rain come over here because Lockleth isn't too terribly far away from me.
She's a national treasure. She needs to be protected at all costs.
She does need to be protected at all costs. But yeah, so Dia de los Muertos, we're doing a top 5 related to that. The top 5 times we went to the land of the dead in Nintendo history.
To the Shadow Realm.
To the top 5 times we got sent to the Shadow Realm. And then we're doing a indie showcase on Oxenfree, finally, which is good. Okay, Lockleth confirms that they're good. They're good over there, so I'm glad to hear that. Good deal. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying, Eric?
But, Seth. We're finally doing our review of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hype.
Sparks of Hype.
I actually lost my breath there at the insane hype.
Yeah, so we have that review discussion on the podcast tomorrow as well. Had to give it the full review discussion treatment. Talked about that game for like an hour. So there's a lot of show left. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And hey, before you guys leave, again, hit that like button, like the stream. Subscribe to us here on YouTube if you like what you see. Tons of Nintendo content always going up over here. So we
Seth,
super appreciate you.
Seth,
Yes.
we know they like what they see.
Oh. Leave them with the Scorcher.
Just a sec, just wait. Blue steel.
Oh, blue steel. There you go. Somebody's going to clip that. Holy cow.
God, I hope not.
Well, thank you all so much again. We love and appreciate you all so much. Lockleth, I'm glad everything is okay over there. All the best to you guys. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Sweet.